Hello. We are going to talk a little bit about summary for your first assignment, just to give you a lay of the land. Sometimes I like to hear instructions and not just read them. So occasionally I will make a video, a cameo. I'll video bomb you. Anyway, so you're going to be reading The Danger of a Single Story, and we have a sample of what a summary of that looks like. And let me just say this about summary. It seems like quite a task, and it's difficult because you have to understand precisely what you've read, not what you think about it, what someone else has said about it, what it brought to your mind, but simply what's there. So that's kind of a even-handed listening project. It's like having a conversation with someone. It won't go very well if you're not listening to each other and understanding what the other person is saying. So this is just an academic version of that. And the standard we hold is pretty high for accurately representing that in a summary. And the reason you do that is because your essays are you entering the academic conversation. So if you want to do that, you've got to clue the reader in. What is the context? What are we talking about? What's been said here? What are the facts? What are the ideas of a given author or scientist or whatever the case may be? So you are going to practice writing a summary. There's two samples on Canvas for you to look at. But what it really takes is going through the article, the transcript, slowly. Maybe if you're more of an auditory learner, you can listen to it several times and jot down some of the ideas. The techniques we use are according to the MLA format. The mysterious MLA, it just means Modern Language Association, and then there's some conventions that go along with that, some habits, some ways that we have all decided we're going to write these things down. And one of them is when you first introduce a source, you write the first and last name of the author. Often you include their credentials. If it's, the director of neurobiology for Stanford University, why, that's quite a great credential to incorporate into your text because it lends credibility. And then you put the title in quotation marks. And you also say what the publication was. Sometimes you save that for the works cited, but these things are all so that, one, we can find them later. Where did you get this information? Who's saying this? What are their credentials? When did this come out? All that. And also just to orient the reader you're writing an essay and you want them to know what the context is and what the topics are and all of that. So you're going to be using a blend of paraphrase, which means you put the ideas into your own words. If you write them in the exact words of the author, that's plagiarism. And you can look in the syllabus, gives a big description of that. So you want to be able to say it your way, but be accurate at the same time. And that's sometimes a little bit of a dance. You gotta do a little dance there. So you use paraphrase and direct quotation. When you actually use the words that the author used, you put them in direct quotations. And then it's not considered plagiarizing as long as you attribute everything to the author. Even when you paraphrase an idea, make sure you attribute, meaning give credit to, or make it clear that it comes from the author or the speaker or whatever the text, depends on the text that you're using, what the format is. So those are the MLA mysteries in a kind of an overview. It has to do with attribution, meaning who said it, etc. And the examples are on Canvas, and it's a bit of work, and it's reading. It's learning to become a very good reader and listener. And it'll serve you in life too, because you'll be a person who listens before responding, just to make sure that you're soaking it in before you're putting something out. All right, so we will be working on that, and you'll be submitting that on Canvas, and we'll go from there. And these first ones, when it's not an essay, when we have these assignments, they're for you to practice. So if you have specific questions, make sure you write that on your assignment, what your question is. I'll be briefly looking them over, making sure they're long enough, but I won't be scrutinizing them in the same way that I really will be reading your essays. So make sure you ask your questions, and I'll give you some feedback on what's what's working in your summary and just make sure that it's accurate. You can work with each other. That's a great way to compare if you've understood a text, accurately. All right. Good luck.